Hey guys, my name is Tim Bray and I'm going to be showing you through the first two tutorials in this tutorial series. This first tutorial will be about basic After Effects knowledge. To start off, I'll be going over some of the important tools in the toolbar. I will then go through some of the main panels to give you a better understanding of the layout of After Effects. Hopefully by the end of this tutorial, you'll have a better knowledge of After Effects and will be able to get around it a lot easier. So to start off, we're going to go up here to the top tab to create a composition. So click on the composition button. There'll be an option New Compositions, just click on that. So we've got some composition settings to help us set it out. So to start off, we need to give it a name. So you can call it whatever you want. I'm just going to call it testing. So down here we have some settings and presets. So in the presets tab, we're going to be choosing HDV/HDTV 720 29.97. This is going to give us a preset of the size and the frame rate of our composition. Down the bottom here, there is the background color. I'm going to keep mine on white as it's a nice easy color to use. And click OK. Great, so now that we have our composition, I can show you guys through the toolbar up top. To start off, we have the selection tool. The selection tool allows you to select objects on the stage and move them around and transform them. I can show you a bit more about that later when we have some objects on the stage. The second tool we have here is the hand tool. The hand tool, if you click and drag, it allows you to move the view of the stage around so you can see things outside the stage. This is helpful if you need to edit some things that you can't see right on the stage at that moment. The next tool we have here is the zoom tool. With the zoom tool, if you left click, you're just going to zoom in. Another way of zooming in and out is by using your mouse scroll wheel if you have one on your mouse. If you scroll backwards, you're going to zoom out. If you scroll forwards, you can zoom in. Also, another way to do this is with the magnification ratio pop-up. If you click on the down arrow, there's a whole bunch of percentages are going to come up. The lower the percentage, the more zoomed out you're going to be. So if I click on 6.25%, I'm going to quite far zoomed out. A zoom that I like is fit up to 100% because it just shows the correct amount of stage that you need to see. The next tool we're going to use is the rectangle tool. When we click on this, we're going to get some color options up top here. There's going to be fill, stroke, and stroke width. If we click on the fill color, a color palette's going to come up and we can choose any color we like. I'm going to go for a blue, and you can go for whatever you want to go for. Next we have the stroke. If we click on that, the exact same thing happens. We can pick our stroke line. I'm just going to choose a green and click OK. The next we have is the stroke width. You can change this to be any size you want. I'm just going to bring that down to 9. Now, if we click and drag from one spot into any direction, you're going to create a rectangle or a square, however we make it. Once we let go, we'll have the shape completely drawn. If you come back to the selection tool, we're able to click and drag the object around, as I said before, and also we're able to change the size by clicking on the little squares on the corners and edges. If we click and drag closer, it's going to make it smaller, and if we drag it out, it's going to get bigger. Also, on the icon of the rectangle tool, there is a small grey triangle. So if we hold down left click, we can see a whole bunch of other options. Bear in mind while you do this, you still have to be holding down your left click. If I want to do an ellipse, I can let go on the ellipse tool, and then I can click and drag just as I did for the rectangle, and a circle will appear with the same settings as the rectangle. Next we have is the pen tool. The pen tool allows you to draw smooth curves by clicking at different points on the stage. If I click at one point on the stage, then click and hold my mouse click down at the next point, I can move my mouse around to create a curve from one point to another. If I let go and click at another point, it will create another curve for joining from the last point. After Effects will automatically make it a smooth curve for you. The next tool we have is the horizontal type tool. If we click on this, a menu off to the right hand side is going to come up. There we can change the font, the style, and the font size and the color. So if I want to change the color, I can click on the color box and I can change to any color I want. Let's go for yellow. Click OK. There's a whole bunch of fonts you can choose from, but I'm just going to stick with Verdana. And there's 4 styles you can choose from. There's regular, italic, bold, and bold italic. And I'm just going to click on bold. Here you can change the font size, and just below here you can change the vertical and horizontal size just to be a bit more advanced with your sizing. I'm going to double click on the font size and change that to 60. Now to start typing, you need to click at any point on the map to start typing, and you can type whatever you want. So I'm going to type project. Now if we go back to the selection tool, we can click on this object, and if we click and drag, we can also move this around like any other object. We can also make this bigger and smaller like we did with the rectangle. Also, while this is selected, we can still change the fonts and the styles and sizes and the colors. For example, if I wanted to change it to a blue, I can quickly click on blue, click OK, and now it's blue. Next, I'm going to show you the paintbrush tool and the erase tool. To do this, we need to create a new solid layer because we can't draw or erase on a composition layer. To create this layer, we need to go up to the Layer tab up top, click on New, and then click on Solid. Once we're in the settings, we can give it a new name. I'm going to call mine Solid Layer 1. Now there's size settings. These sizes are already preset to the same size as your composition, so we don't need to change that. And then we can also change the color down the bottom, but I'm going to keep this dark grey color, and click OK. To select this layer, we need to come down to the bottom left of our screen and double click on the layer where it says Solid Layer 1. If done correctly, you should see a little timeline like this, and it should be highlighted. Now that we have a solid layer, we can now use the paintbrush tool and the erase tool. First off, we'll use the paintbrush tool. Once we've selected the paintbrush tool, on the right hand side there'll be a brushes panel. Here we can change what our paintbrush tool looks like. We can change the diameter, the angle, the roundness, the hardness, and the spacing of the paintbrush tip. I'm going to keep the hardness and the roundness at 100%, and I'm going to put the diameter at 60 so it's nice and easy to see. Below we have the paint panel. Here you can change the opacity, the flow, and also the color of the tip. I'm going to keep the opacity and flow at 100% so it's nice and easy to see and it's a solid line. And I'm also going to set my color to red so it's a nice contrast from the background so I can see it easier. Now that we have this ordered, all you need to do is click and drag your mouse to create a line. And there's your paintbrush line. Next tool we have is the eraser tool. The settings for the eraser tool are very similar to the paintbrush tool, as there is also the brushes and the paint panels. In the brushes panel, I'm going to make my diameter larger than the paintbrush tool so it's easier to erase. So I'm going to put that at 75. And I'm going to keep the roundness and hardness at 100% as well. In the paint panel, you can change the opacity, flow, and the color again, but there's no need to since you're just erasing the color. There's no color that's going to be coming out of it other than whatever's left behind. Down here where it says erase, we need to make sure it's selected at paint only, otherwise it will delete our background layer, so it will just be white afterwards, where we just want it to be grey. Now it's the same as the paintbrush tool where we click and drag and it will delete the line. And those are the main tools on the toolbar that will help you get through After Effects. Now that I've gone through the toolbar, I'll give you a basic understanding of some of the other parts of After Effects. To start off, this panel here is the project panel. The project panel is where all the things that you've imported into your project go, and you can grab things out of here when needed. The second thing here is the stage. The stage is the place where your basic rendering of your project is displayed, and you can see roughly what the project will look like. In this area you can manipulate the objects that are displayed by using tools in the toolbar as I've previously gone over, such as the selection tool or the brush tool. This tab here is the preview tab. The preview tab is used to help you navigate through your project by either pausing or playing your video, or you can even do things such as going frame by frame to find more specific spot needed. You can also jump to the very last frame or the very first frame to get to the start or end of the video quicker. The last part here is the timeline. The timeline is where you can see all the layers of the project and what time in progress it is to the video. By using the video head, you can drag it along side to side to change the time of the video, giving you a rough look on the stage and see what your project will look like, or to even find a certain place in your video. That concludes the very first tutorial of our tutorial series. I hope you have learned some important information that has helped you to get around After Effects. Remember, you can always go back to parts in the video if you've forgotten anything or are stuck at one point. And don't be afraid to try things out for yourself. Thank you.